Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive even deeper into Tad Williams's Art?
Always ready for more of this world. I'm still thinking about the ending of the first book, so I'm excited to get into what happens in Stone of Farewell.
Yeah, Stone of Farewell, the second book in the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy. Where do we even begin? Art is in the grip of this, crazy unnatural winter, right?
Right, yeah. And if I remember correctly, it's all thanks to the Storm King, Inaluki.
The big bad Inaluki. I mean, talk about an entrance. But it's not just about the weather, is it?
No, definitely not. It's impacting everything, from the land to the people, even the magic of Art. It's setting the stage for some really high stakes.
Okay, so let's talk about the characters, because we have Simon, Josua, Miriamele, Elias, each one dealing with their own trials. Plus, trying to survive the whole end of the world scenario.
It's a lot. I think that's part of what makes the story so captivating. The characters are so well developed and their struggles feel real.
Okay, so Simon, he's on this quest to the Stone of Farewell. We know it's this mystical mountain tied to the Sithi. But what's he actually hoping to find there?
It seems like he's searching for answers, for a way to fight back against Inaluki. Maybe even for some hidden Sithi knowledge or power that could turn the tide.
And he's not alone on this journey, right? He's with Jiriki, the Sithi prince, which, I mean, talk about an unlikely pairing.
Absolutely. It makes you wonder, what's Juriki's motivation? Is he truly trying to help Simon, or does he have his own agenda? There's definitely a sense of mystery surrounding him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, one thing that really stood out to me was the contrast between the outside world, all frozen and desolate, and then Simon steps into the Sithi House of the Ancestor, this hidden cavern.
Oh, yeah, such a vivid scene full of ancient statues, whispering secrets. It almost felt like stepping into another world.
Exactly. It's like the Storm King's power can't touch this place. It makes you think about the resilience of the city, their connection to the land, their ancient magic.
It's a good reminder that even in the darkest of times, there are still pockets of beauty, of hope, of resistance. And, speaking of resistance, we can't forget about Josua.
Oh, right. Josua, the rightful heir, trying to lead these refugees. It's like he gets knocked down, he gets back up again. There's a real sense of determination there.
Totally. But, he's facing a lot more than just the elements. He's also dealing with betrayal, even from people he thought he could trust.
Oh, you talk about Fickleney? The March Thane? That was brutal. Talk about a stab in the back.
It really was. It makes you question, who can you trust when everything is falling apart? But it also shows Josua's strength. He doesn't let this betrayal break him. He keeps fighting, keeps leading.
He has to, right?
Right.
For the people who are depending on him. And, I mean, this betrayal kind of highlights the whole theme of fragile alliances, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It shows how desperate times can bring out the best and the worst in people.
It's like everyone is struggling to survive, and sometimes that means making tough choices. Choices that might not always be honorable.
Exactly. But on the other hand, we also see glimmers of hope, like Josua finding refuge with the Thrithings folk.
Ah, the Thrithings folk, these mysterious, reclusive people living out in the wilds. What was your take on them?
I think they represent this idea of resilience, of independence. They've chosen to live apart from the traditional power structures of Ostenard, and their willingness to help Josua, despite their distrust of kings, speaks volumes.
Yeah, it's like they recognize that the threat from Inaluki is bigger than their own personal beliefs. They see the need for unity.
It's a powerful message, isn't it? That even in the face of overwhelming odds, people can come together, find common ground, and fight for a common cause.
It makes you wonder if that's the key to defeating Inaluki, finding strength in unity and the connections we make with each other.
Right, and that's something we see echoed in Miriamele's journey, too, don't we?
Oh, Miriamele, disguised as Lady Maria, escaping from her power-hungry father, Elias. It's like she's on the run, always looking over her shoulder.
Yeah, and she's dealing with so much guilt and grief. She feels responsible for the fall of Naglaman, for the loss of her uncle Josua.
Right, and she's also having to come to terms with the fact that her father has changed, become someone she barely recognizes.
It's a heavy burden for someone so young to carry, but, in her journey, she finds help from the Niski, and they are fascinating.
The Niski, a race of seafaring creatures known for their haunting songs, right? Like something out of an ancient myth.
Exactly, and their willingness to help Miriamele, a human, speaks to their compassion, their understanding of the interconnectedness of all beings.
And their singer, Ganitai, offers Miriamele these cryptic warnings, these glimpses into the future. It's like she's being drawn into something larger than herself, a destiny she doesn't fully understand.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there are forces working behind the scenes, guiding us towards our true purpose.
And speaking of darkness, we can't forget about Elias. It's like he's become a puppet for Inaluki, completely under the sway of that sinister Pryrates.
It's heartbreaking to see him descend into madness like that. It's a reminder that power can corrupt, that fear and paranoia can twist even the best of intentions.
And the fire dancers, these fanatics who worship Inaluki, I mean, talk about chilling. Their blind devotion, their willingness to commit atrocities, it's truly frightening.
It shows how far Inaluki's influence has spread. He's not just conquering land, he's conquering minds, twisting people's beliefs, turning them against each other.
It's like he's feeding off the fear and chaos, growing stronger with every act of cruelty. It makes you wonder, how can anyone stand against such a force?
That's the question that drives Stone of Farewell, isn't it? How do you fight against an enemy that seems invincible? How do you hold on to hope when everything around you is falling apart?
It seems like the answer might lie in unity, in finding strength in each other, in forging alliances across old divides.
Maybe that's what Simon's journey to the Stone of Farewell is all about. Uncovering the secrets of the Sithi, their ancient magic, their understanding of the balance of nature. Maybe that's the key to defeating an Aluki.
It's definitely a story of loss, of betrayal, of fear,
Hmm.
but it's also a story of courage, of resilience, of the enduring power of hope. And, we're just getting started.
It's almost like the Stone of Farewell itself, like the mountain, is a metaphor for the whole book.
Ooh, I like that. How so?
Well, it's this massive ancient thing, and it seems, kind of impenetrable, but then inside you've got this whole hidden world. The Sithi culture, all their secrets, their magic.
It's like a secret garden, hidden away from the harshness of the world.
Right. And it emphasizes what Simon is learning about the Sithi and how they see magic. They're not about power or control. It's about understanding, about respect for the natural world.
Like their songs, their language, it's all intertwined with magic. It's part of their way of life.
Exactly. And that's so different from, how magic is used in the human kingdoms.
Yeah, like those swords. Miniar, Thorn, Sorrow. They're powerful, but they've also caused a lot of pain and destruction.
Right. And it makes you think about the intention behind magic. What's its purpose? Is it a tool for creation or destruction?
It's like with the Sithi, it's about harmony. But with the humans, it's often about, well, dominance. Like trying to bend the world to their will.
And we see that playing out in the conflict with Inaluki, don't we?
Yeah, he's all about control, about twisting things to his own dark purpose.
And Simon, with his connection to the Sithi, maybe he represents a different way, a more balanced way of wielding magic.
But that also makes him a target. I mean, Inaluki is not going to just sit back and let Simon become a threat.
Exactly. He sends those, what were they called? The Hunan?
Oh yeah, the Hunan.
Yeah.
Creepy, relentless creatures. It's like Inaluki's fear and dread given physical form.
And even the Konuk, the troll folk, are struggling to deal with them.
It's a sign of how powerful Inaluki is becoming, how much he's twisting the balance of Ostenard.
The unnatural winter, the strange creatures, it's all connected. It's like a shadow spreading across the land.
It's like this creeping despair that's starting to infect everyone.
And you see that in Elias, don't you? How he's become a shell of his former self, completely consumed by Pryrates' manipulations.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to see someone with so much potential just wasted, consumed by darkness.
It's a reminder that even the strongest people can be vulnerable, that we all have weaknesses that can be exploited.
Especially when we're driven by fear or insecurity.
Yeah.
Like Elias wanting to prove himself, wanting to hold on to power.
And that's why Josua's leadership is so important. He's facing the same challenges, the same pressures, but he chooses a different path.
He chooses to lead with compassion, with integrity.
Yeah. Even when he's betrayed, he doesn't give up on those ideals.
And look at his alliance with the Thrithings folk. They're not exactly the most trusting bunch,
Yeah.
but they believe in him.
Mm-hmm.
They believe in what he's fighting for.
They represent this, this hope for a better future. A future where people can come together despite their differences.
It's like a beacon of light in the darkness.
And maybe that's what Miriamele is searching for, too. Her own way of fighting back.
She's on this clandestine journey, disguised, learning to trust her instincts.
She's carrying so much guilt and grief, but she's still pushing forward.
And those Niski songs, those prophecies, they're guiding her, right? Giving her a sense of purpose.
It's like they're showing her a different perspective, a different way of understanding the world and her place in it.
Like a map through the darkness.
It's fascinating how Williams weaves these three storylines together, each character on their own path, but ultimately connected by this shared struggle.
It's like a tapestry, each thread adding to the overall picture. But you don't see the whole picture until you step back and look at it all together. Back again, ready to unravel the rest of Stone of Farewell.
Definitely. I'm really curious to see where Williams takes these characters, especially with all the mysteries swirling around them, like Miriamele and the Niski.
Yeah, it feels like we only got a glimpse of them in the last part. What's the deal with those Niski songs?
Well, it's clear they have a deep connection to the magic of Ostenard, but their magic feels so different from the Sithi. It's like wilder somehow.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. The Sithi magic seems very deliberate, very much about balance.
Yeah.
But the Niski, they seem to tap into a more primal force, like the sea itself.
Right. It's powerful, but it also feels a bit unpredictable, maybe even dangerous. And then you have Simon learning the Sithi ways, wielding Thorn, a sword forged from something completely alien to Ostenard.
It's almost like Williams is bringing together these different strands of magic, these different approaches, and Simon's right in the middle of it, trying to figure it all out.
Exactly. He's not just learning spells or techniques, it's about understanding the very nature of magic, and that's a heavy burden for anyone to carry.
Especially with the fate of Ostenard hanging in the balance. And while Simon's off learning about magic, Joss was facing his own set of challenges, trying to unite the human kingdoms.
Which is no easy feat. He's got centuries of distrust, rivalry, even outright hatred to overcome.
And, I mean, after being betrayed by Ficome, you can't blame him for being a little wary.
Oh, totally. That betrayal really shook him. But I think it also forced him to grow as a leader.
To realize that leadership is about more than just giving orders. It's about inspiring trust, earning loyalty.
And that's what we see happening with the Thrithings folk. They're not following him out of obligation, they believe in him.
Yeah, there's a real sense of camaraderie there. And their knowledge of the wilderness could be crucial in the fight against Inaluki.
Absolutely. But Josua needs more than just the Thrithings folk. He needs to bridge the divides between all the human kingdoms if they're going to stand a chance against Inaluki.
It's like that saying, united we stand, divided we fall.
Exactly. And, it makes you think about what's happening with Miriamele. She's on her own journey, but her choices, her actions, they're going to have ripple effects too.
Right. She's kind of a wild card. We know she's being guided by the Niski, by those cryptic pronouncements. But where's she headed? What role is she going to play in all of this?
It's hard to say for sure, but it feels like her journey is about more than just survival. It's about discovering her own strength, her own destiny.
It's like she's shedding her old identity, the princess, the daughter of Elias, and becoming something new.
Yeah. And that transformation, that sense of self-discovery, it's something we see happening with all the characters, isn't it? Simon, Josua, even Elias, in a way.
Elias?
Well, maybe not in a positive way. He's lost himself in madness.
Yeah.
But maybe, just maybe, there's still a chance for him to find redemption, to break free from Pryrates' control. It's a long shot, but you never know.
It's like, even in the darkest of times, there's always a glimmer of hope.
Exactly. And that's what makes Stone of Farewell so compelling. It's a story about loss, about betrayal, about the struggle against overwhelming odds. But it's also a story about courage, about resilience, about the power of hope.
And it makes you think, doesn't it? About the challenges we face in our own lives, the choices we make, the connections we forge.
Because in the end, it's not about the battles we fight or the enemies we face. It's about who we choose to be in the face of adversity. And that's a message that resonates long after you finish reading the last page. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Stone of Farewell.
Good night time.